Hello, I wanted to talk to you today about the projects that will be given to the students in Math 1180. The students are required to do 3 projects as a group, and they're also required to at least one time present their project as a group in class. They won't have to present twice or more than once. The first thing I want to talk about is how you organize the students into groups, and we can do that pretty simply with a spreadsheet that I made. I call it the Groupanator. So this is what the Groupanator looks like. In column B is where you're going to insert your students. So you just take your roster and cut and paste it into column B, starting with number 1 here. Now you won't fill up the entire list because the students are capped at 35. So let's say we delete at least the last few students. So those letters symbolize my roster now. So leave the other ones blank where it's not filled in. Okay. So to organize project 1 and see who's determining project 1, you highlight columns A and B. You want to sort smallest to largest. And there's what it did. What the Groupanator tries to do is disperse the blanks, the empty seats, as evenly as possible so that no one group only has 2 or 3 students and no one group has more than 5. The groups highlighted in yellow, the first 3 groups, will be the ones that are required to present in class. So these students, B, M, F, F, V, P, and so on, these students here are required to present. They won't have to present again after they get this one done. So they'll be presenting project 1 to the class. Now it's important that we lock this in. So we highlight this set of groups, right click and copy, and go to the top left hand square. We're going to paste special value V. What this does is it's as if you typed them in yourself now, so they're not related to the program at all. They're just there. They're locked in stone, so they won't be affected by anything that happens later on. You don't forget them. So you're going to send this out. You're going to take a picture of this, perhaps a screenshot of this, and send this to the students so that they know what groups they're in. So after project 1, let's say a few students drop. It's usually inevitable. One or two become inactive or they drop. So let's just delete a couple random students here. Okay, so I deleted 4 random students, maybe more, who knows. Okay, so then to figure out the project 2 groups, do the same routine. We highlight columns A and B, sort smallest to largest. And what you can see happened here is there's so many drops or so many empty slots that it doesn't see the need to have a group 8. So it completely eliminated the need for a group. That maximizes the number of groups. That maximizes the number of students in each group so that the groups don't get too small. You can see all the ones in yellow were the ones that were previously in the presenting groups. They're no longer presenting. The ones in blue will be the ones presenting. And again, just like before, once you determine those groups, make sure you lock them in. So you copy those cells, right click on the top left hand corner, Control V or paste them, and they're locked in. So let's say even more students drop. So you go on, after that project's over with, maybe a couple students deleted again. Same idea, go to project 3, highlight columns A and B, sort smallest to largest. And you can see really what happened here. Since there's only 4 students left over that haven't presented, it doesn't try to make them into 2 groups. It combines them all into 1 group so it's easier for them so they don't feel too much pressure. And then it organizes the other students randomly again. So this is pretty useful. I used it this summer and it worked out smoothly as can be. I didn't see a problem with it. The only flaw in this program is it's not useful to add students to it. So if a student joins late, you're going to have to do that manually and remember this. So I hope this helps. That's how the Groupanator works. The next thing I need to talk about is the peer review surveys that the students will be required to do so that they can rate their fellow members, group members. To do that, we developed a survey on Google. Here's what the surveys look like. They look like this. You'll have access to these surveys. What you need to do for the first project is copy project 1 survey. Just right click, make a copy, and save it to your own Google Drive if you want to. But the copy, I already made a copy and it's right here. So you can make a copy. And what you need to do first before you allow students to enter in their ratings is you need to, for each group, you need to put in the right students' names. So put in students 1 through 5 for group 1, 1 through 5 for group 2, and so on, all the way down to group 8, if there is a group 8. Now for a student to fill this out, it's pretty simple. Go to responses. You can send. First you got to allow it to be accepting responses, and you can send it. Click on the link. Click on this link, copy, and then you can paste that into any email you give to your students. So you can email your students this link, and they'll have access to the survey, so they can rate their fellow group members. So when the student does reply, it'll look like this. In the student's eyes, it looks like this. They enter in their name. They enter in their opinions of what they thought of the project, any ideas, any constructive criticism. You do have to enter in a name here. That's required. And then the student can, whatever group they're in, they can enter in their student's survey. So if they felt a student did fully participate, they can give them a 10. If they felt the student did really lousy, they can give them a 0, whichever group they're in. So they can go through the whole thing, ignoring the groups that they're not in, because there's 8 of them here. So wherever they rate them, they just go through the whole list. Ignoring the students that are not in a group again until they get to group 8. Doesn't take long. Then they hit submit. And once they submit it, their responses are able to be read by you. So here's what your responses look like. Go back to your project, click on responses. You can see the individual response if you want to. You can see how this fella did here. Or you can see the overall, which is what you want to do. So if you look through here, we see the opinions of the project by different members. For example, if I wanted to grade student 1 on participation, I know they have a 3, 1, 3, a 6, an 8, and a 9, and we drop the highest grade because we assume the student will rate themselves as a high grade. So 3, 6, 9, and 8 is 26. 26 out of 4 is 6.5. So the average 6.5 rating. 6.5 rating would be a 65%. So then you go to Assignment Manager or to your online course, My Math Lab course, go to Gradebook, and for Project 1 participation grade, you get a 65% for Student 1. I hope that makes sense. And that's how we handle that. Keep in mind that if a student fails to fill out the survey, we give them an automatic 0. It's a pretty clear cut in the syllabus that their participation is required for this. We want them to rate their members. And if they did not participate in the project, they probably won't participate in the survey either. But basically, if they're not on this list of names, they get a 0 participation grade for that project. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that it clears up some issues. Please let me or Sandra know if you have any issues. Appreciate it, and thank you very much. Take care. Bye.